Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 51 of the Anime Banter podcast with your hosts, Turtle, Sean, and Mike. Thank you for joining us today. How you guys doing?
I'm tired.
You're tired.
Also tired.
You're both tired.
Yeah, I started my new job and it requires going to the office 3 days a week. So it's the first time I've been in an office consistently for 4 years. And the days I go into the office, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. so I could go to the gym before work.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's way too early. I wake up at the last possible minute every time.
yeah, so
But I also go to the office 3 days a week, and it feels terrible.
yeah, it doesn't feel great.
Well, welcome back to the grind. I'm in the office every day.
I don't want it.
Neither do I, but I don't have a choice.
Sure you do.
I mean, I guess I could just quit with no backup plan.
Exactly. What's the worst that could happen?
I won't be on the podcast anymore.
Just think of all the time you would have to edit and to watch anime, though.
That is true. My anime watching time would increase.
Actually, yeah, you would double down on the podcast then.
Yeah, I guess so. I just won't be able to afford internet or a place to live. I'm crashing at one of your places.
Just go to a library. It'll be fine.
I have to like hide in between the aisles so when
Yeah.
they power down, I could just sleep there.
Sleep on top of the bookcases.
Gotta move to Japan and go to one of those 24-hour manga cafes where people just pay to use the cafe overnight and just sleep there.
See, there's a solution. But again, you have to pay, so like I won't have any money because I won't have a job. I'll just break in.
Yeah, I got no solution.
Well, we watched these two episodes we're about to talk about today, and there's kind of a lot to talk about. So I don't think we're really going to have much of a quick banter segment that we usually open with here. So do you guys just want to jump right in and let's get this covered?
Yeah, this first episode was crazy.
Oh yes.
Let's hit it.
So without further ado, let us begin with episode 21, The World of Magic. The episode begins with rain splashing on the barrier. We immediately cut to a young Flamma and Frieren approaching an elf sitting on a chair that's surrounded by books. Cue the opening.
I really love the transition of this opening scene where Flamma and Frieren were kneeling before Zarya, and then they transition to just an empty room.
We begin the scene with Richter raising the earth to separate Lavina and Kana from Frieren. It's philosophy time with Frieren and Danken. Danken states that the pursuit of magic stirs a far greater joy than any good fortune a spell can possibly bring. We cut back to Zarya. It seems Zarya taught Flamma magic. Now Flamma is teaching Frieren. Zarya offers to teach Frieren any spell she desires. Zarya collects grimoires and has almost all the spells ever written at her disposal. Frieren declines the offer, however, saying that the pursuit of magic brings a far greater joy than any spell could. Zarya tells Flamma that Frieren has no ambition. Flamma says that Frieren is going to defeat the Demon King someday and bring peace. We cut back to Frieren in modern times, and she likes the way Danken thinks.
That's a pretty great flashback. Seeing young Frieren learning about her development with Flamma was really something special because we don't know a whole lot necessarily about her time with Flamma. I like when we get, when we expand. Frieren's been around for 1,000 years, and I like when we flesh out her backstory. So yeah, I want more.
Yeah, I agree. This was a fantastic flashback. It did leave me wondering, though, did Frieren declining Zarya's offer cause Zarya to offer the privilege upon becoming a first-class mage? And is there more to the history of Frieren and Zarya? Because now Frieren is, like, collecting all the grimoires and what have you.
Lavina continuously tries to freeze Richter, but realizes the difference in their mana is too great for it to work. She fires multiple ice shards at him, which Richter blocks as he calls upon a barrier made of earth to protect him. Richter fires a counterwave of earth back at Lavina and Kana. Kana is able to block the attack. Richter is able to pick up on their quirks quickly. He realizes Lavina can only use non lethal ice magic, and Kana is worthless without water. Richter offers the two a lesson in magic as he realizes their geezers of instructors at the Magic Academy only taught the ways of fighting overly defensive battles.
Watching Richter use his magic was really cool, but man, is he such a dick.
He
He
really
sure is.
is. I feel like, but I get the vibe that Denkin was like, "Don't kill them," and I feel like he's not trying to kill them, at least at this point in the battle. Just kind of freak him out and injure him.
Richter explains that the defense magic they use today has hardly increased against physical spells since it was first discovered. That if they try to seek perfection for defense magic, the magic would become too complex. It explains why modern magic has started to involve matter combined with magic. We then see Richter's attack pierce Kana's defense magic.
I really enjoyed this lesson in magic because it's been a little bit of time since the show has taught us something new about the magic system. Like those first couple episodes of the show, it was like once every couple episodes we would get a magic lesson, and it's been some time since we've got that.
Yeah, because we got a little bit on the holy magic recently, but I think that was kind of like our last magic lesson, perhaps. Like we've gotten like how this spell works this way and this spell works this way, but not necessarily like magic as a whole works this way. So yeah, I don't know. It's been good. I like the way that they educate in the series. But yeah, our dynamic duo here is certainly in trouble.
Lavina brings up that the body is 60% water. Richter states the imagination one would need to draw it out and manipulate it would pretty much be impossible due to the difference in mana between them. Richter says even if water was in reach, a child like Kana is no threat to him. Lavina says all the men like Richter take all the fun out of everything, bluffing included, but she knows he sees Kana as a threat. That if he loves fighting as much as he says, he wouldn't have weakened one of his opponents by removing an element they need to fight. Lavina says he's afraid of something.
Richter is such a dick! But I'm also wondering what Lavina is hinting at here.
Does she have a plan? Maybe. Guess we'll find out soon.
I think she's just trying to stall for time. Frieren and Denken are flying as they are in the middle of their fight. Frieren is firing her basic magic attack that Denken is easily able to block. Denken begins to fly away as Frieren's magic begins to track him. He fires a counterblast at Frieren, which she is able to block easily. Denken comes to the realization that the fight will end when Frieren is able to exhaust his mana. Denken calls the fight an honor, but it has been hard on his old bones. He says he needs to settle this quickly. He attacks Frieren with a fire tornado, which looks cool as hell. Lavina and Kana look on in shock as Richter calls it very subtle, wondering what the old man is up to. The proctors wonder if the barrier will hold.
I was not expecting to see a fire tornado in this show.
Yeah, Denkin's pulling out all the stops. He really wants that title.
Also, when he summoned the normal tornado, my ears kept hearing his attack as fart cloud. Obviously, obviously that's not the real name of the attack, but that's what my ears kept hearing.
I mean, I would be afraid of an attack called Fart Cloud.
I mean, it's just Wario and Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, good point.
I was gonna say in D&D and Baldur's Gate 3, I think there's a move called Stinking Cloud. Pretty much the same thing.
We learned from Senza, the girl proctor, that since last night, someone has been analyzing the barrier. Genu, the other proctor, wonders why they would do that, to which Senza is also unsure. As they discuss, we get a really cool visual of Danken looking on at the fire tornado. The fire tornado begins to dissipate, and we see Frieren fully encased in defensive magic, much to Denken's dismay. Denken fires a light arrow at Frieren, which she is able to block, while firing off her own attack magic. Denken believes this to be impossible, as there was no opening for Frieren to attack.
I wonder who is analyzing the barrier and why. Especially because you figure the barrier was created by Zarya, or at least one of her magical spells.
I mean, that's why the proctors are like, nah, no one can break the barrier. But analyzing the barrier is interesting. Whenever they first brought this up, I was thinking Could it be an outside party? Maybe it's like a group of demons and they're gonna invade and try and kill all the mages in one place. Could be interesting. Or maybe a mage we haven't met yet was about to make something really crazy happen and we're gonna introduce to a new character. Or maybe someone sabotaging the exam from without or within in some way because of a vendetta they have against Zaria or another character. So there's a lot of interesting theory crafting you could do as to why someone may want to dispel the barrier.
Dankin is overwhelmed by one of Frieren's attacks and then realizes he is out of mana. He can't believe he was bested by a basic offensive spell. He continues to realize that this match was no different than a training match between a master and an apprentice. Frieren asks where Laufin went as she plans on taking back the Stilla. Dankin asks if Frieren was in his position, how does she expect him to answer? She says, good point, and knocks Dankin over. She has her staff pointed at Dankin, and she calls out for Laufin to show herself after hiding this whole time. We see Laufin in hiding, and Frieren threatens to kill Dankin unless Laufin comes out and gives her the Stilla.
Fights involving Frieren are starting to feel like the fights involving One Punch Man. Like, she's so far ahead of everyone else that there's rarely a challenge to her.
I am enjoying One Spell Woman. It does make me chuckle. She's absolutely broken in power, but honestly, it's like really, really fun to watch. It's because it feels fresh. Even though you are right, I do like the One Punch Man call out. Big fan of the series and the manga.
I feel like season 2 of Freeren's going to be called One Spell Woman now.
One spell!
They should get the same guy to do the opening, yeah.
Laufin knows that Frieren is a better mage than her, and even better than Richter. Laufin believes that Frieren is letting her guard down by not touching Dankin. She tries to teleport to grab Dankin and teleport away, but Frieren is able to grab Laufin before she can teleport. Dankin calls Laufin a fool, as they are tied to a tree with Frieren holding the Stilla.
Frieren made that capture look easy.
Yeah, Frieren just grabbing Laufin made me laugh. One of the reasons for that, though, is that Frieren's so small. So her just grabbing someone is comical to me because I'm like, can she actually like her catching Laufin's hand? Can Laufin really not just yank her hand back? But then again, Frieren is could just blow her away with magic, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Laufin is curious why Dankin is so desperate to become a first class mage, as he's already wealthy and powerful. What more could it bring him? Dankin talks about his homeland that is located out in the northern plateau, but due to the increase in demon activity, only a first class mage can enter the area now, and he wanted to visit a grave he hasn't been to in a while.
Now I feel bad for Denkin. Like, that grave has to be for a loved one, whether it be a significant other, a parent, sibling, what, maybe even a child. But like, it's probably Denkin's probably realizes he's getting close to the end of his life, and he wants to visit this grave one last time.
Yeah, at first he kind of seemed like he was a Game of Thrones villain the way he talked, but now he actually seems like a really good guy, and I feel even I'm even more interested in a character who I was already interested in.
I feel like he has some sort of other motive as well. I'm sure he wants to visit the grave. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I feel like there's got to be another reason than just that.
Of course, the power too. I mean, don't get. It's like, yeah, I want to visit this grave. Oh, and the power. Yeah, I need the power. Yeah.
The power! Dankin asks Frieren, shouldn't she go help Lavina and Kana? That Richter surely will dispose of the two before coming to challenge Frieren. Frieren says the two will be just fine and knows that they will win. We learn that it was Frieren who was analyzing the barrier.
What is Frieren planning? That's all I need to know.
We're about to find out, I think.
We will get there. We transition to Richter looking to where the fight between Dankin and Frieren occurred. He didn't expect for Dankin to lose. He says he now has more important things to do than babysit. His attacks become more vicious and frequent as he summons a giant pillar of earth to slam on Lavina and Kana. Lavina realizes that Richter is now trying to kill them, and they won't last very long.
Lavina and Kana might be in trouble. Richter just went from being a dick to a murderous asshole.
Yeah, I think that Richter kind of agreed to Denkin's terms of not killing them because they were so confident that they could win. But now that Duncan has lost, I think he kind of has to. He's realizing that his position is not as great as it was just a few minutes ago. So, up, time to try.
Laufin wonders aloud at Frieren being done analyzing the barrier, and what does that even mean? Denkin has a look of shock and realization on his face. He realizes that Frieren is planning on destroying the barrier. Senza starts to worry, but Genau is fully confident in the barrier, even if the world would be turned upside down. Frieren fires a blast at the barrier and destroys it easily. Genau asks Senza who that elf is. She says it is Frieren. Genau realizes she traveled with the hero's party. Senza points out the holy emblem she was carrying, to which Genau says, "The last great mage is before us." We transition to Zaria saying to no one, "Now you've done it, Frieren. It's been 1,000 years, and this is how you say hello. You've reminded me why I will never retire. For in the world of magic, creation can be turned upside down."
Give me an encounter between Zarya and Frieren. Give me what I want.
Zario and Freerun for the heavyweight title, or maybe the featherweight title.
Whoa.
That's probably the right belt. I don't think they're heavy. They might be heavyweights when it comes to magic, but not in weight class.
Yeah, are we weighing their like body mass or their mana?
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. Heavyweight mana title.
Yeah?
But I did want to say that the last great mages before us, pointing out the holy emblem, I'm like, I need more information on this. Like, I need a lot more information on this. I want the whole story behind the holy emblem. I'm obsessed with it.
I feel like since they keep bringing it up, we have to get it, right?
I don't know, Turtle. Do we find out in the next 2 to 3 episodes?
Moving on.
Turtle's like, I'm gonna act like I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Johnny Tight Lips, you know.
I definitely don't know what happens after these two episodes. I don't know what you two are talking about. Dankin and Laufin wonder why Frieren destroyed the barrier. Frieren says she felt bad for Kana and that magic is the world of imagination, that she wouldn't want to fight someone that could manipulate the rain. Richter, Lavina, and Kana look on in wonder at the rain. Richter states this is no time to assess the situation, and he must finish them off immediately. He reaches down to touch the ground to attack, not realizing there is a puddle. Lavina is able to freeze his arm in place. Richter is able to break free, only to realize that Kana summoned a giant wave of water right above Richter's head. Lavina freezes Richter in place, and Kana slams the attack right into him. The water runs down from the plateau and gives Laufin and Dankin a nice bath as Frieren flies away.
It was so great to see Kana be confident in her magic for once.
R.I.P. Richter, absolutely bodied. He fought hard though, and honestly, would have easily won if Frieren wasn't broken and busted the barrier. But if Denkin hadn't told him not to kill them in the first place, he might have actually ended it faster. But they also have the benefit of plot armor, and it's really hard to win against plot armor.
Frieren meets up with Kana and Lavina. Frieren tells them to conceal their mana for the next 2 hours so they can claim victory in the first trial. Lavina says she has no mana to conceal. Frieren tells them great work and pats them on the heads. Kana appreciates the praise, as Lavina says not to pat her.
I got a good laugh at the reaction between the two on receiving the praise. Like Kana was so happy and Lavina's like, "Don't touch me."
I think everyone watching the show wishes Frieren could give them head pats.
I know I do.
It's what men want. What they think men want. What men really want.
Hashtag what men want. Richter apologizes, and Dankin says it was inevitable. Dankin and Richter are completely out of mana. They ask if Laufin can dispel the binding, but she says there is enough mana to bind a dragon. Dankin says they should get creative and cut the tree down to break the binding. Laufin is so low on mana, she cannot use her teleportation magic. Dankin says they should fight till the end. Ubel calls Fern deeply boring for her use of spells. Fern says to take her complaints to Frieren. Fern plans to give Frieren an earful for them being soaking wet. Fern says Frieren only limits her combat magic. Ubel gives her credit for the magic she used to catch the Stilla and wonders what else Fern can do. Fern says she has a spell to see through clothes, but refuses to use it. Land says they should hold back on their secrets as the second test is a free for all. Fern seems surprised by that revelation.
I'm so ready to see this second test begin. Things are going to get nuts at this point. And I wonder if we're going to get a Frieren versus Fern showdown.
Oh, I love the speculation. Let the speculation begin because I have no clue what's going to happen here, right? So, number one, mentioning the spell that can see through clothes. What if that actually comes in handy because they've laid it down, right? It's on the table now. She has said it. So I'm like, dang, that'd be crazy if the spell to see through clothes actually works. Like someone's hiding something, like in their sleeve or something like that, or in their pockets, and she can see it. It would totally work, I think, because it's not just for seeing people naked; it's for seeing probably the contents of what people are wearing as well. Or sorry, the contents of like their pockets and storage and sleeves and things like that. So yeah, I think it could come in hand depending on the test. A Free versus Fern showdown would be pretty interesting, I think. I kind of hope it doesn't happen, but I do like how Land says that they should hold back on their secrets because you always get the feeling that Ubil is prying for information. You know, like trying to be like, well, we have this time to burn. I may as well learn as much about my future opponent as I can. But is the tournament arc gonna be in the trials here? Not so sure.
Danken, Laufman, and Richter come across a party that ran when their third party member died. They are clutching Estilla closely, even though they won't pass. Danken and Richter walk up to them. Danken is ready to challenge them for hand to hand combat as he removes his cape. Fisticuffs!
Modern problems require modern solutions.
I felt so bad for the party with their party member gone. Not just because they lost a party member and because that guy's dead now, killed by a monster or whatever, but like, I don't know, they're like, dang, we won. Like, we had this. Like, victory's so close, but it's so far. Um, but Denkin really wants it, and I love seeing him disrobe just so he can whoop some butt.
We get a montage of the parties that will be moving on. We see Freeren's party as Lavina is sitting on Kana pulling her hair. Again. We then see Fern's party, Wirbel's party, Danken's party, a party trying to catch a Stilla sitting on a party member's butt, and the back of a party we have yet to see. We haven't seen the last two parties in the montage. Genu says it is time for the first test to be officially over. 6 parties and 18 mages have advanced to the second test. We learn the second test will take place in 3 days, and details will come later.
I hope the second test is a tournament, but it feels like we might still be too early for that.
If they do it. There may not be a tournament. Actually, it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to be a tournament unless they cap the number of people who can become first class mages.
That's a fair point.
I just want a tournament.
Well, we have 2 more tests to go, so who knows what could happen. Certainly not me. Stark lives! He's in a bar, saying it's been 2 days since Fern and Frieren headed off to the exam. That he can stay up as long as he wants, and Fern is not around to get mad at him. He's so happy, it's almost frightening.
Stark is enjoying that bachelor life.
Keep your peace, King.
Sean, I know you're also married, but like there are times that my wife will go away for the weekend and it's like, oh, like I have to do a couple of things around the house, but it's like I can do anything. I can stay up till like I could stay up playing video games, like I could just like do whatever I want without like if I'm it's like usually she'll go to bed early and like I'll play video games, but it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about if I'm being too loud or making too much noise or anything of that nature.
Last time my wife went out of town, I went and stayed with my parents for 2 nights so I could be closer to because my parents don't live like that close to me, but they're not like that far either. Same city, but different area of the city. And so I stayed with my parents instead of staying at my house and like hung out with friends. But the thing is, like, so whenever I go to hang out with friends, like back from where I went to high school, the wife gets mad when if I walk in at like 3 a.m. because she's worried. She's like, "Oh man, like it's really weird whenever you go to bed at like midnight, wake up 2 hours later at 2, you wonder what time it is, and your significant other's not in bed, right?" So wives worry about that stuff. But I could be out till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I had like a 5 minute drive to my parents' house. So I was like, yeah, I'm just staying here. So, but yeah, it's the same thing, right? Where so yeah, it's not that I don't have freedom or I don't have peace. It's just that I when you don't have to take another person into consideration, then you can truly do whatever the heck you want without consequence. Well, I won't say without consequence. You could still go to jail for some actions, I guess. But
Wow, what are you doing, Sean?
you don't want to know. Actually, no. Hold up, no, no, nothing illegal.
Let me clarify.
Let me clarify. Nothing illegal.
Well, with that, I think it's time for a beverage break.
You know what they say, alcohol is the best medicine, and it is time for Mike's Beer of the Week. This week's beer comes to you from Abjuration Brewing, and it is their Candied Sour version 1.18. A sour ale that, after fermentation, was cold conditioned on strawberry slushy and fresh processed key lime juice and zest. This is a brewery I've been wanting to call out in my Beer of the Week segment for a while now. They have a science theme to their brewery where you drink out of beakers, and each version of their beers are a different version number, hence the version 1.18. I really enjoy their beers and the theme there. Their brewery is also connected to a theater that will play movies, have comedians, open mic nights, etc. Definitely check this brewery out and check out their beers because they're all fantastic. The Untapped average rating is a 4.18, and I give it a 4.5.
Episode 22, Future Enemies. The first test has concluded. 6 parties and 18 individuals have passed the test. They all have 3 days off before the second test begins. The parties that are moving on are Party 1, Methode, Lang, and Ton, which I don't really think we've met these characters.
I don't think we met this party or Party 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's just some jobbers for our characters to be. You know what I mean? They're just gonna, they're gonna go out there. Our team's gonna crush them.
Oh, yeah. Party 2 is Frieren, Lavina, and Kana. Party 4 is Fern, Land, and Ubel. Party 8 is Werble, Scharf, and Ere. Party 13 is Danken, Richter, and Laufen. And Party 17, our other unknown, is Adele, Blay, and Dusty. I don't know if that's how you say those names because they're German names, and I'm not German.
I would guess Edel, Bly, and Dunst.
That's sort of what I was thinking as well.
I like Dusty because it's
Yeah,
not
you
even
left out
close.
the N. You left out the N. But okay, yeah, Dusty.
Dusty it is. It's too late. I've already committed to the bit. After the opening, Stark is taking it easy by sleeping in till evening time since he stayed up late last night. All of a sudden, there are 3 soft knocks on his door. The knocking continues and gets louder and louder. Finally, Stark puts on his boots and heads to the door. He opens it to find Fern and Frieren standing there. Stark is shocked and tells Fern she should be in the first class mage exam. Fern thanks him for telling her where she should be and starts drilling him with all these questions. She tells him he looks rumpled, which I swear I've never heard that word before until this.
I've never heard anyone say they look rumpled before.
But it's so accurate, though.
It is. It made me laugh really hard. You look rumpled. But she had to think about the word for a minute before she says it. And she asks if he's been sleeping all day. Then she asked if he was up late last night. Finally, Stark breaks down and says that he was up late last night and he even had some juice as a midnight snack. Fern gets mad and starts punching him. Frieren says he made Fern angry, to which she tells Frieren she woke up only hours ago. Frieren says she was caught in the crossfire.
Stark was loving that bachelor life, and now it is no more.
And the man sipping juice, sleeping in. Yeah, back to reality though. I mean, I am on the ship, but sometimes I wonder if Stark has it a little too hard. Enjoy your peace, King. Move on. Stay single. By the way, this is not actual advice from me. I just think it's funny to say out loud. But yeah, I guess it's kind of weird how I don't get why she'd be so mad at it, but I guess she's been working so hard at this exam, and he's just been like screwing around. But at the same time, he's not taking the exam. Why does he have to do anything? They have enough money to stay in the city, so what's the problem? He doesn't have to like go do backbreaking manual labor for a day. Jeez, just let the man drink juice and sleep. Give him a break.
As they travel through the streets, Stark and Frieren realize pleasing Fern is now on the top of their to-do list. They decide to visit a restaurant Frieren visited 80 years ago with Himmel and the rest. We cut to Richter fixing a lamp for an old lady. She says the lamp works like new, to which Richter says it was an easy fix. She pays him with some candy and says she'll see him later. He calls her grandma and says he's not a boy anymore. She says to an old lady like her, he is still a little boy, and adults like treats too. As he pockets his score, he turns to find Laufin and Danken walking up to him. Richter says that his shop is closed due to a demented old man dragging him into a fist fight over a silly bird. I love this line. Danken says he's had it rough and should join them for dinner. Richter tells them to go away, and Danken tells him he doesn't know how to get along with people. Danken says he should stay on his good side. Richter agrees only if Danken is buying. Laufin is eating some donuts. All the ladies in the show really love these donuts.
Couple things about this scene. One, talk about a side of Richter I did not expect to see at all. Like, it was such a sweet scene watching him interact with his grandmother. Two, who doesn't love donuts?
They're delicious.
I'm a fan.
And then three, what are the odds that the restaurant Dankin goes to is the same restaurant that Frieren goes to?
Yeah, I've
Spoiler.
yeah, I mean, I think watch a little forward, and at least we don't have to watch another episode to get that answer. But I'm like, oh no, this is the episode where they make me care about all the characters. Gosh, I hope they don't kill a bunch of them off because it's gonna be devastating. I'm like, don't make me care about them. But I'm starting to see some of Richter's motivations, and I don't think he's necessarily like a murderous mage like he kind of was made out to be last episode. I think that I look at his like tiny little corner shop and realize it's probably hard for him to make ends meet, and that I think that he feels that being a first class mage is going to be his ticket to like having a good life. And I think that he's kind of doing this because yeah, I bet he doesn't make a lot here. So I kind of like feel some compassion for him, but I still don't think it's just because don't make a lot of money would not mean that I'd be willing to kill someone.
Land is walking down an alley when he finds a little kitten. It is calling out over and over again and is really adorable. Land is about to step over to it when it finds its mother and runs over. The two cats run off, but not before Mama Cat hissing at Land. He sighs and begins to walk away when Ooble appears behind him. She says hello, but Land wants nothing to do with her. He says if she wants to make small talk, they should keep walking. He tells her she is a killer and asks why she didn't kill Werble. She tells him she empathized with Werble, and he made her want to put off the final blow. She then casts a binding spell on Land, holding him in place. She tells him empathy is her special gift and it allows her to learn the spells of people she connects with. She has been unable to connect with Land, and his cloning spell intrigues her. Land says he dislikes her type, copying spells and not understanding how the spell actually works. She releases him and tells him she caught a glimpse of the real land. He just brushes her off, though, and keeps walking, with Ubel following behind. I can't tell if she's beginning to like land or if she just wants to steal his cloning spell and then kill
Ship, ship, ship.
him. I
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
think I triggered Mike there.
But seriously though, Ubo's power is so cool, and I'm really loving seeing all of these mages' special powers throughout this arc.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of fun to see. Like a lot of them are like elemental mages, and a lot of them have really unique abilities, like copying other people's spells and things like that. It makes me wonder how many. It makes me wonder what about the mages. Ubel's a murderer, right? I don't know if she does it out of necessity or because she enjoys it, or maybe a combination of the two at times. But I wonder if all the spells that she knows, if she's killed a lot of the mages that she learned the spells from. And this kind of goes back to Frieren, I guess, and Frieren like researching and obtaining magic and learning how it works. I wonder if someone like Frieren is going to come up against Ubel, and Ubel is going to lose a fight because someone like Frieren understands the spell that she's using, in when the user themselves does not actually understand the spell fully. So some fun potential foreshadowing here.
Denkin's group finds the restaurant he and his wife visited 50 years ago, and of course, it's the same restaurant Frieren and company are at. Fern asks if she can order as many desserts as she wants, and Stark says everything looks so good. Denkin says to leave them be, as mealtime should be a happy time. Stark orders a very large omelet, Frieren orders a plate full of steaks, and Fern orders pancakes, a slice of cake, and a large parfait with fruit. It all looks so good.
That food looks amazing. Also, I didn't expect Frieren to order a giant plate of steaks. To quote Scrubs, "We're going to steak night. We're going to eat it right. Steak is such a treat. It is the world's best meat."
Yeah, I love anime food. I feel like the animators put more effort into the food than just about anything else usually. So anime food just makes you hungry.
We get a flashback of Himmel and crew at this very restaurant. They save the head chef's special knife, and he promises that the flavors of this restaurant will never change. He is challenging time itself. Back to the present day, Frieren tries the steak and finds that the flavor is different. It is now better than ever. Good job, chef. Everyone enjoys their meals. Denkin tells Laufin to eat her vegetables. Even Ubel is eating with Land as she studies him to steal his magic. Fern is on cloud nine as they head back to the inn. Frieren is glad that Fern is in a good mood, as that saves everyone's night. Stark asks at what cost. Frieren says it cost her entire savings. Poor Frieren.
Interesting that Himmel ordered the omelet in the flashback. Is this hinting at Stark the hero?
Maybe.
The next morning, Stark is outside the town, meditating as an old man stands next to him. Greet nothingness good day, and be proud, for you have arrived at the essence of the art of war. The master's lessons are the student's tricks now. I bid you farewell. The old man turns and leaves. Frieren passes him and asks Stark who he is. Stark says he has no idea. The guy just talks at him while he trains. She tells Stark he is quite the beacon for oddballs. She then asks for Stark's help. We cut to Fern wearing her famous pouting face. Frieren slept in, and it was her turn to go shopping. Now Fern won't even grunt in Frieren's direction. Stark is too scared to mediate, but steps up anyway. He tells Fern that Mistress Frieren is sorry for being lazy. Fern grumbles. She is hungry. She wants to eat snacks. Stark asks if she wants to go snack shopping, and Frieren hopes her secret savings aren't gone.
That quote from the random old man was so lovely.
It was a pretty good one.
And then Frieren really needs Sign to come back to mediate her issues, her and Fern's issues. And then
Yeah.
Frieren can't be too mad about them having to go snack shopping after she's the reason they are in this mess.
She's just out of money.
Does anyone else feel like Frieren probably has like a stash of cash hidden somewhere that we just don't know about?
I was gonna say it seems like they're always out of money, but free rent always has more money somewhere.
Oh no, my secret savings.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah, I would say she's probably got a bag of holding somewhere that's just like filled with treasure.
Kana is looking out over the streets and spies Werble looking for a warrior. He finds a random guy, but says he's not the one and moves on. Lavina shows up wearing a lovely dress that Kana compliments. Lavina says her three brothers got back from the capital and bought it for her. She hates when they do this, but their mom loves it, so she is forced to wear it. Kana gets down on one knee and asks to be Lavina's prince. Lavina responds by jumping on her back and pulling her pigtails, just like normal.
I loved Lavina's face when her brothers were dressing her up. It was like the free rent violence face whenever Lavina and Kana would be fighting.
Yeah.
And Kana, you must be humbled.
Yeah, the discussion about like the brothers dressing her up was very bizarre to me. Um, but hey, whatever. We're just getting a little bit of backstory on all the characters before we head to the next arc. This is oh no, hold up. I'll save these next thoughts for the very end.
Kana and Lavina walk into a bakery shop where Frieren and Stark are looking for a snack for Fern. The girls walk with our party and said they wanted to stop by the inn to say hi to Frieren. As they walk the streets together, Stark thinks to himself he can't relax around all these women. Just then, Werble appears in front of him. Werble and Sharf start feeling up poor Stark, who is freaking out. This poor guy gets assaulted everywhere he goes. Werble says he was hired to clear a monster from a local field, but he needs a frontliner. He asks Fern if he can borrow Stark for this job. She responds with, "Take him." That's so cold.
Werble and Sharf are doing a TSA type pat down on Stark. And Fern is just so damn hangry.
Yeah, but this is definitely some revenge. He was slacking while she was taking the exam, so she's like, "Go make some money, Stark. You need to buy us snacks." Snacks.
Back at the inn, the girls bought Frieren some goodies as a thanks for her help. She says she didn't do anything that needs thanking, and the girls say they would not have passed the test without Frieren. We then get a Himmel flashback. After saving a little girl and her parents from a monster, Frieren asks why he helps so many people. Himmel says he does it for himself, so people will remember him after he's gone. To live is to be known. To live is to be remembered. Frieren asks what she should do to be remembered. Himmel tells her to change someone's life, even if it is in a small way, and hope for the best.
This episode has had some amazing quotes. I mean, this show in its entirety has some amazing quotes, but this episode and just in general has had amazing quotes.
They're just feeding them to us.
They are. As the girls eat the sweets and talk, a bird arrives at the window with a message. News of the second test. It will be proctored by Senza. She has only proctored 4 tests before, and no one has passed them. Cue the serious music as each mage receives their letters. We even cut to a guy in a bathtub for some reason. Sharf is reading his letter as Werble and Stark are eating meat from the monsters they killed. Werble says the moment he laid eyes on Stark, he knew Stark had the essence of the art of war. Wait, isn't that what the old guy said?
One, music was absolutely bitching. Fantastic song. Two, interesting callback for sure on the essence of war.
Yeah, I hadn't actually caught that the first time. But I what I'm more focused on here is the test being proctored by Sensa, and 4 tests and none of them passing. I'm like, okay, so naturally, like 8 people are gonna pass this one. It's just how this stuff works. It would be funny if they all failed, though. How funny would that be? Like we watch the next 2 episodes or whatever, just everyone fails the test.
The first proctor Genau says Senza that her tests are cruel. She tells him she is a pacifist. Cue the ending credits.
Well, pacifist would imply that we're probably not getting, if there is a tournament arc, we're not getting one right now. And that's okay. If they're going to do any combat, maybe the last round will be that in some way. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the next couple episodes. I'm really happy that we kind of ended our watch on this episode. The series has been very kind to us with the even numbered episodes being okay places to stop, because it was a nice calming episode that got me ready to begin a new arc. And then next week we get to watch 2 episodes from the next test, assuming it lasts more than one episode, which I have a feeling it will.
Yeah, I think the only time we had some sort of cliffhanger was in the Grofgranit domain arc with the demons, where that was sort of like a 3.5, 4 episode batch. So we were kind of left in the middle of that. But yeah, these episodes have been very friendly to just two at a time. So with that, what did you guys think of these 2 episodes as a whole?
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I like them. I like that we wrapped up the first arc, and I'm sorry, the we wrapped up the first test, and then we now wrapped up the like the lead into the second test. And yeah, I do think it's kind of fun how we are getting to know these characters a little more. It's essentially when you watch the test and they show you a side character, you want to care about the side character, and that's what this episode was for. So I think it was really well executed. It didn't drag to me. It wasn't boring because it jumped around so much, and I like that. So 2 good episodes. Looking forward to the next 2. We'll probably watch them after this.
Turtle, usually go last. How about you go next?
Ooh, all right. We'll shake it up. I really like these 2 episodes. I feel like, when you have a test like this, having to jump from group to group, I think can really be a challenge. But the way that it's done, it really does keep your interest where we just met most of these characters, and I'm just like fascinated by, their abilities, their personalities, and how they work together and how they clash with others. And you would think this would be kind of chaotic, and to be fair, it kind of is. But the way they do it, it's pretty easy to kind of follow along. They like to throw up, the names of the characters on there on the screen, just under the characters, so it helps you associate. Okay, this is you, this is you, this is you. And I'm really bad with character names, so a lot of time, I'll see the character, be like, oh, you're that guy, oh, you're that girl, okay, you're this person. So like I still don't have the names, especially when they're, non-American names. As an American person who struggles with names, learning names from another language is a little bit harder for me than a regular names. Or by regular I mean American that I'm used to. And I struggle with that. So they do a really good job at like trying to help you remember, this character looks like this, their name is this, we'll see them again. So, they do good refreshers. But yeah, I think these were 2 great episodes. I'm very excited to get to test number 2. Not that I know what's happening. How about you, Mike? What'd you think?
I loved them. I loved them both. Like episode 1 was just so action packed, wrapping up the first test, and there was just so much going. For it being a 23-minute episode, so much was jammed packed into it. And then it would have been very easy to make episode 2 like a filler episode between tests. Like, oh yeah, here's Stark and Fern out on the town. Nothing really of note, like real meaning or note. And instead, they're like, no, we're going to give you more character development. We're going to like introduce some of the new mages that we'll be seeing in test 2. We're going to give you a hint that this next test is going to be brutally difficult. So yeah, I it was a complete 180 because it was like didn't have the action, but like just the character development in that second episode was mwah, chef's kiss.
And now it is time for everyone's favorite segment. The only reason they listen to this podcast. Maybe. Hopefully not. The waifu of the week. Boys, I'm going to be greedy. I want to go first. Anyone have a problem with that?
No.
You've been leading us this whole way. If you want to go first, go first.
I don't really have a lot to say for this one, but my waifu of the week is going to be Kana. Only because, like, for most of this test, like, we haven't really seen her do a whole lot. So to see Frieren break the barrier to give Kana, like, proper use of her magic, and for her to literally, like, gather the rain to make this massive tidal wave in a matter of moments was really cool. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Kana. These 2 episodes, there's kind of a lot going on, and I feel like no one gets a lot of focus, no one individuals, but I think Kana had a real nice moment to shine there, so I'm giving it to Kana.
I'll go next. I'm gonna give mine. Sometimes we get a little creative with Waifu of the Week. This week, I am not getting creative. I'm picking one spell woman, Frieren. She broke the barrier. She absolutely destroyed an old man, and she also put a whippersnapper in her place. The quick one. I can't remember her name. I don't know. Boys, it doesn't matter because her name's not Frieren. So that's it. Frieren wins.
Laufin, her name was Laufin.
Frieren be laughing at Laufin.
Oh!
This week, I'm going with my boy, Stark. He was enjoying that bachelor life. It was good to finally see him again after a couple episodes. Who doesn't love a nice glass of juice late at night? And then watching the aftermath of him slaying that beast and eating all that delicious meat. Stark it is.
Thank you all for joining us this week as we watched Frieren Beyond Journey's End. We hope you join us next week for episode 52 of the Anime Banter podcast, where we will watch episodes 23 and 24 of Frieren. Please give us a 5-star review on all platforms that allow reviews. If you are listening on YouTube, please like the video, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Sean, do you have anything you would like to plug?
Let's go on.
Mike, why don't you tell us some pretty cool news for everyone?
Sure. The Anime Banter podcast can be found on Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. Give us a follow, like our stuff, repost it, tell your friends. We appreciate all the word of mouth. Thank you all.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will talk to everyone next week.